From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Less Levine, it's a Monday night. It's a brand new week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Less Levine. And we, of course, are powered by cleveland.com. Monday night means Bud Shaw is with us. Bud, how are you tonight?
Good, Les. I came across one of the most amazing stats, courtesy of our friend Adam the Bull, who just tweeted after his show or during his show today. Get this. In games the Browns have played in Pittsburgh against Steelers teams that are playoff teams, so they're good enough in those seasons to go to the playoffs. The Browns' record has been 1-27.
1-27?
How about that?
Well, that equals 28.
Now, excludes a lot of years when they weren't when Pittsburgh was not a playoff team, right? So
the other thing Adam may want to know, which he may not because he's not from here, that the Browns' record in Heinz Field is not real good.
No, but this one got me a little bit. It's like, yeah, there have been wins over there against Steeler teams that maybe had quarterbacked by Bubby Brister or somebody.
Right.
But when they've been good with a good quarterback and they've been a playoff team, the Browns don't win over there. And I think this is a weekend coming up where that streak could end.
Well, lots to talk about tonight. I want to talk about the Browns and the Steelers, obviously, and also LeBron James and a couple of other things that have come up with it. And I'm just going to talk about this for a minute or so as the Browns place Greedy Williams on IR. He'll miss at least 3 games. But I want your overall thoughts on the win over the Colts. But before that, yesterday we were informed of the death of Joe Morgan, former Cincinnati Red Star on the Big Red Machine, the second baseman on this team. And I'm going back to think, it's like almost every week we're talking about Hall of Famers who are passing away in baseball. Don Larson is not a Hall of Famer, but he passed away earlier in the year. He, of course, pitched the perfect game. Then you had Al Kaline from Detroit, and it continued on. Joe Morgan now, Whitey Ford, and a couple of others, Lou Brock and Bob Gibson. Am I noticing
Tom
that?
Seaver.
What's that?
Tom Seaver also, yeah.
Right. So I'm just wondering if I'm noticing it more because these are guys that I really followed and didn't notice other guys, or maybe more of it's happening out there.
Well, it was such a great era, and not all of those guys played in the same era, but I'm thinking of Gibson and Seaver and Morgan, guys that when I grew up were, I remember Whitey Ford when I was growing up, but I wasn't as into I lived in a National League city, so I wasn't as into the American League as I was watching the Reds and Morgan. And my wife grew up around Indianapolis. They didn't have a baseball team there, still don't. So Cincinnati was their team. And she said to me today that she read something that he was the first member of the Big Red Machine to pass. That seemed not quite right? I mean, just in numbers alone, there must have been somebody, but maybe the reference was one of the Big Red Machine's, signature players.
Right.
Because that was an unbelievable team to watch.
Yeah, it was a fun team, no question about that. All right, let's talk about yesterday's 32-23 win over the Colts. It looked like an old Browns. What happened to the old Browns teams? It looked like it was going to happen again. Then, for some odd reason, the ball hit the upright and caromed inside the goalpost, and the Browns almost assuredly got the win. Is that an act of God, or did God maybe think he had the wrong team, or what happened here?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. We've seen that go the other way so many times. I thought when the kickoff return for touchdown happened, I thought that was one of those moments that were going to turn the game, and we'd be looking back afterwards saying, well, the Browns are 3-2, could have been 4-1 if not for that. But listen, they showed me something yesterday in scoring their 4th straight game where they've scored 30 or more against, this time we believe. It's statistically early, so when somebody says that's the top-ranked defense in the NFL, yeah, it is for now, but we don't know how great it is yet. But it was still impressive to see that, and I thought defensively the Browns, showed me something in turning a couple of big Colts mistakes into scores. So I think this is a very impressive start, obviously, but it's one of those starts that I think means more even inside that locker room, because there's no reason to question the rookie head coach. There's no reason to question his plans offensively. and not much reason to question them defensively right now with overcoming some of the injuries they have.
No, and you mentioned the 30-plus mark. Usually that'll include a kickoff return, a fumble recovery. There was a pick six for the Browns, but there wasn't the quick strike of a couple of big turnovers by Indianapolis, right, one after another, which turned into points. I think they had to work hard for all of their points. And
yeah, the thing that struck me too, Les, was that you fair catch a ball inside the 5, and it leads to a safety. That's the kind of play that the Browns used to make, right?
Sure.
You scratch your head and say, why didn't he let the ball bounce into the end zone? But so those years that we watched where they decided to run a triple reverse from the end zone or whatever they were doing, and it ended up in a pick or a safety or a fumble. They seem too disciplined right now under Stefanski for that kind of stuff to happen, or at least for that kind of stuff to become a habit.
I think with that play you're talking about, the special teams play, I think all teams don't have. There are a lot of non-special special team players, and it's not just the Browns. We wonder why the Browns never return kicks or do well that way. Most teams are guilty of the same thing, and I'm sure that in Indianapolis today they're screaming at the guy, even though, as you suggest, it didn't matter in the whole scheme of things. It didn't matter that much.
Yeah. To me, the special teams are like bullpens, right? You go into seasons hoping that you have guys that are going to perform the way they did the year before. But if they were all that good, they'd be starting pitchers, and if they were all that good, they'd be position players in the NFL. So
I think they're basically saying, don't mess. You're in the game, but don't mess anything up. Just keep the game the way you saw it.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So now what happens? You mentioned Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh gets a win last night, a high-scoring game in that one. And, of course, Baltimore, another fairly easy win. So what are we seeing here? Is this win or go home, or what are we doing?
Well, I think it's too early in the season for that, but I think it's another one of those. They have a couple of teams coming up after Pittsburgh that nothing is ever given in this league, but you would think that the Browns would certainly be favored to win those games. So it's a big moment, I think, that in the division. If you're going to make the playoffs, you have to start beating Baltimore and Pittsburgh, and it's a big challenge to do that on the road. But I think this is a different team. Baker Mayfield touched on it a little last week when he was asked about something in the history of Cleveland Browns, and he said he didn't really care about it. It didn't have anything to do with them, and I think that's a positive if you're going into a town like Pittsburgh where there have been so many bad memories for fans. I doubt that'll make much of a difference at all to these players and this head coach.
Well, no, I hear what you're saying, but my guess is Baker Mayfield knows exactly what the record is or how long it's been. The ego is too much not to know those things.
Yeah, I mean, he probably, I'm sure we've had head coaches come in here and they've shown people they've shown their teams, their players, video of big games and big rivalries, and they want them to get immersed in it. We'll have to see how Stefanski handles this week.
216-575-0403. You can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. One of the things all teams have a problem with, and that's injuries, especially at this time of the year. Browns fans probably held their collective heads when they saw Baker Mayfield go into the sore ribs there, then into the blue tent, but nothing was said. Greedy Williams placed on the IR and because of a nerve injury in the shoulder. Stefanski is hopeful that he'll return sometime this season. Wyatt Teller is week to week with a calf strain. Ronnie Harrison is in a concussion protocol, and Baker Mayfield, as I suggested, is still sore, but we'll see how he works through the week. But were you surprised he let him stay in the game at that point?
No,
it was still a potential throwing situation.
Yeah, it was. I was not surprised. I mean, I think Mayfield, for whatever we want to say about his maturity level the last couple seasons, he's a tough guy, and he would have had to been pulled screaming out of there, I think. And I think Stefanski wants these guys to trust him, and he's going to trust them, that when they tell him they're okay to go back in, he's going to err on the side of the player. until he gets evidence that it's a bad idea.
Mary Kay Cabot joins us tomorrow. Dennis Maniloff on Wednesday. 216-575-0403 is our number if you want to reach us. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/More Sports and Less Levine, with new content posted each and every day. We post the question during the morning. You answer it during the day, all day long, and we'll read about it a little later on the show. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Less Levine is powered by cleveland.com.
Has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Well, I think, first of all, Tony, I think I can do a much better job as a play caller in these moments where we need to get into a rhythm, get the offense into a rhythm. So there's some calls that I really want back. I know I can do a better job. As it pertains to Baker in the second half, I think he's doing what it takes to win. We're going to be in some games where you're playing 4-minute offense, so to speak, and you're playing conservatively and you're chewing up the clock, and then we know we're going to be in some games where we're going to have to open it up. I think you saw in that first half, we did a nice job. We were able to move the ball. And then for a bunch of reasons, we weren't in the second half, but I would put a lot of that on me.
Yeah, getting back to Baker for a second, Coach, he considered that to be his worst game out of the 5 that he's played so far. Did you see it that way? And, what are some of the things that you saw on tape that he can do better?
Well, I like that he's hard on himself. He wants to be great, and I think he's doing some really nice things. For us, it always comes back to the turnover margin, and nobody's more disappointed at the 2 interceptions than he is. I think we can learn from him. You don't like those interceptions to happen, obviously, but if you can learn from them and prevent them from happening in the future.
That is Kevin Stefanski. A tale of two halves. I didn't notice it as the games are going on, but apparently there's a big discrepancy between first half and second half. In the first half of games, he has completed 67 of 101. Second half, 26 of 51. completions 66% versus 55, and yards 745 versus 231. I don't know what we make of that. Touchdowns 8 in the first half for Baker Mayfield, just 1 in the second half. Interceptions 1 and 3. But did you notice that as a problem? One heavy in the second half, better in the first half than the second half?
No, I was surprised to see those numbers, Les. I think in some cases when you have teams that are winning teams, there's always less production from the quarterback in the second half if he has a good running game.
Like
So I
just
think
running
that-
out the clock?
It's a little part of it, yeah, but he knows. I mean, the one thing that he didn't do as a rookie when he came into for those 5 weeks is, he got rid of the ball quick, and he didn't throw. He was so accurate that balls weren't sailing on him. I still don't understand exactly what's happened in that regard because, he's so pinpoint on some of the throws, especially when he's moving, running out of the pocket, and other times when it looks like he's planning, the ball sails on him. So, they'll have a lot of time to work that out, and maybe he'll even have some time in some games coming up where he doesn't have to force balls late in games because they'll have a lead and their running game is going to be good.
Somebody sent me an email today saying that when he runs to his left, even with the line of scrimmage, that's when he doesn't have the control of it that he might have otherwise. That
Yeah.
I've noticed a little bit, but not as blatant as some of those numbers on the first half, second half.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think that's an issue for a lot of right-handed quarterbacks moving left. Although I think he did that when he made the one throw to Beckham that Beckham juggled and caught on the way down. So he's capable of making good throws that way. And I was asked by somebody today if I thought that in the end we're going to look back on his career and say that he was an average quarterback. And I really think I contested that. I think I don't know if he's going to be a top 5 guy. I who knows? But I think he's going to be better than average. And I know that's not the ceiling or that's not the expectation for a number 1 overall pick to be better than average. But I believe that there's still more there, and he's got a lot of those intangible things and to go with a really good, strong arm. So I think he's their guy, and I think he'll prove it during this season.
How about this? The question is are Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry the best receiving tandem in the NFL? I think to say that's nothing but a homer attitude because they've dropped way too many passes to be the top in the league. Beckham with 39 targets versus 29, 21 receptions, even with 21 yards, 294 versus 297. So they're pretty close statistically, but they're two different types of wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean they complement each other in that sense and being different kinds of players. But yeah, I think it's a little too early to put them up there. Now, a week ago, I would have argued more for the Browns having the best running back tandem in the league.
It just shows how I don't know the word I'm looking for, brittle, I guess. The game is that you could lose a guy like Chubb or you could lose a guy like Dak Prescott, and your season, not the Brown season being over, but certainly Dallas's would be.
Yeah, now they happen to have a good veteran backup quarterback. I saw Tony Dungy posted, or not that he posted it, but there was a story on ESPN.com, I think, that quoted him saying that he thought that this could be a blessing for the Cowboys. I don't know what he means by that. I'd have to delve into that a little bit more.
Yeah, they don't have to pay him billions of dollars.
Well, yeah, I didn't know if that's what he meant or if he meant actually their offense would perform better in some categories. I don't know. I liked what I saw of Prescott in that game against the Browns. He's been pretty prolific so far this season. Andy Dalton is, a good. I heard someone today call him the best backup in the league. I don't know about that. Maybe, but certainly a guy who's got experience and who's tried to manage games in his life. So maybe that's where Dungy's coming from.
I'm not sure I want to meet the guy who has watched every backup quarterback enough to know whether he's the best or the worst. Best or worst is okay, but 12th and 17th, I don't know.
Yeah, you want to meet the guy who ranks them, right?
Right. And of course the sample size is a little bit low. 216-575-0403. Northeast Factory Direct. They've got 3 fine locations: West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard, and Euclid Freeway Drive. That, of course, in Macedonia. And of course, don't go anywhere without going to NortheastFactoryDirect.com first. More Sports and Les Levine continues in a minute. We are powered by cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
He gets a ton of attention. I can promise you on Wednesday morning in the opponent's meeting rooms, they got a big circle on number 95, and they may be referring to him as a game wrecker because he has that ability to wreck the game from their perspective. And he's applying pressure. Even when he's not getting home, he's applying pressure, and it should open things up for the rest of our guys. And I think he's working really, really hard. He prepares on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then he performs on Sunday.
There's going to be a lot of attention on Myles this week, and especially probably on Sunday, just given what happened last year. What do you want to see from him this week, and what do you want to see from him in the game on Sunday?
Yeah, Jake, I think he's done a great job, this whole offseason training camp, all through these first few ball games. He's all about ball. He's providing leadership to the defense, to the team. We know about the production, but I just think the things he does out there on the field, in the locker room, providing leadership is very impressive to me.
Hey, Bud, based on our status in the sports community, don't you think before he signs off for the day, he should say, oh, by the way, Les and Bud, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, it would be the respectful thing to do. Or at least say, hey, Les.
Yeah, hey, Les, when you come over for dinner tonight, we need to discuss these.
Until that question was asked, I had completely disconnected the Myles Garrett Steelers thing from last year to this weekend coming up. I think that's what happens when teams are playing so well that you have more legitimate, or not more legitimate, but more relevant things to talk about with them. So I didn't even think about that was the game that got him suspended for the rest of the season.
Do you think he's been thinking about it the last 6 months?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, if you've been around him at all, he's a pretty quiet, pensive. Is that the word, Les? How about that one?
I don't know where you're going with it, but it sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very thoughtful guy, and I think he's probably moved on from it in the off season when he was asked about it and had his say. And again, like everybody else, I think he's probably too immersed in what they're trying to do within this division as a 4-1 team to give too much consideration to, especially with a different quarterback playing. Maybe that would be different if Roethlisberger was hurt and the same scenario sort of played out. But You know, Roethlisberger, Les, I've been reading a little bit about what's been going on over there, and that, you know, he's not throwing downfield as often as he has in the past, which is probably good for his health. And he's completing a lot more intermediary passes, and so it's going to be a real challenge for this linebacker group and the secondary again.
You know, you talk about quiet, pensive guy that Myles Garrett is. 20 years ago or so, however many years ago, I did play-by-play for the Cleveland Thunderbolts, arena football, and Eddie Johnson was my partner. Eddie Johnson just might have been the funniest guy in the history of playing sports, and he unfortunately passed away not long after that. But I was talking about it with some of the guys here before the show that we were in Arizona. My son and Eddie and I, we were at the pool. And the waitress comes up to Eddie and said, "Are you a football player?" He says, "Oh no, it's way too violent for me. I'm with the Cleveland Philharmonic that's on tour here." And she said, "Oh, I didn't realize that." And she walks away, and my son points to Eddie's chest, and he's got a
necklace.
He's got a necklace of gold and diamonds, and it says "Assassin." So I looked at it. There was not. We were missing an S on the Assassins. He said he ran out of money.
Yeah, I don't think they give that nickname to whoever's first chair French horn.
No. Let's go to Jack, who's in Erie, PA. Hello, Jack.
Hey, guys. Hope you're doing well, and happy Victory Monday.
Yeah, we have so many of those around here.
No, and I wanted to mention that first before I ask my question. It's so much more fun in general, obviously, when they're good and they're winning, but just also the other games. Like, if they're 1-4, 2-6, and they lose at 1 o'clock, I have no interest in watching the 4 o'clock games or the night games. Now we have a vested interest in all the other games, just like, Ohio State. You're obviously going to watch Michigan and Penn State. You're rooting against them.
So you forgot all this. You forgot all this stuff happens on the other side.
Yeah, right. And it just and in my lifetime, they've really only had maybe 3 or 4 seasons where they've been in playoff contention, and it just makes everything so much more fun,
Well, I'm sure we all would have been happy if I told you at the beginning of the year that they'd make the playoffs. Now, if I tell you they're not going to make the playoffs, you're not going to be happy with that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I think it's good because we'll be involved, hopefully, through the whole season. I always say about the Indians, just keep me interested until September and football season, and I'll be somewhat happy, although not this year. But my question is this. I live in Erie, and I have to deal with those nitwit fans. I've watched a lot of the Steelers. You're right. They're not throwing down the field a lot, but, man, they have a great passing attack. Claypool from Notre Dame is outstanding. He didn't have a very good quarterback in Notre Dame and in Book. And the Browns secondary, obviously, is suspect. And I'm wondering how you guys think they should go about defending them. Do you maybe just rush 3 or 4, drop guys back, sort of like they did against the Bengals, didn't blitz often? Or I'm just worried about blitzing Roethlisberger, that could lead to some issues.
Bud, what do you think?
No, I see Jack's point. I think the Steelers, I don't want to say that they've
I'm having trouble. We'll pick up Bud in a minute.
He can. I do think you're going to see the Roethlisberger trying to get rid of the ball clock, allow himself to be a sitting duck for those pass rushes. And I don't know, from a Browns standpoint, I don't think that's the worst scenario where they don't blitz him and they try to play zone. But I just think there are holes in that secondary that if Roethlisberger gets too much time, he's just going to pick them apart regardless of what they're.
Hey, am I reading this wrong, or are they not getting a big enough pass rush on to make a difference to help the linebackers and the DBs? I mean, do we think they should somehow find a way to put more pressure on, or are they okay at this point?
Well, certainly they're getting that pressure out of Myles Garrett because of the second in the league in sacks, as that graphic just showed, and 3 forced fumbles. But yeah, I mean, you got to try to do something to not expose the linebackers and secondary as much as they have at times, especially down.
Jack, anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to see
No,
that.
that's about it. Go Browns. It's fun. It's fun to be relevant again, and it's going to be a fun week.
It'll be fun. Hopefully, with the win, it'll be fun coming back on Monday night. Thanks, Jack. Good to talk to you. All right, so Sendejo is struggling in coverage. 80% of the passes thrown his way have been completions. That seems like an awfully big number. 200 yards allowed, 3 touchdowns allowed. Sometimes you can't tell on touchdowns. Sometimes it might be on somebody else's fault, and you just get caught because you're the one on camera. But I think these are legit. 80% thrown. That means he's not knocking down too much.
Yeah, listen, every good finds the vulnerabilities in the defense and they try to expose it. So I would just expect more of that from Roethlisberger, who's a pretty smart guy and a pretty durable guy.
All right, so if you've got Sendejo on the starting lineup, would you consider starting Sheldrick Redwine over him?
Well, it's funny when he got in and did what he did. I don't know if you heard the comment, Les. He said he walked into the game and looked at the ball and said, "I want you," or something like that, or
I got to have one of you.
I got to have one of you. So maybe his visualization is a reason enough to get him on the field and see how that works.
You know, I heard them on radio talking about. I guess Stefanski said it about visualization. And some of the callers were surprised about it, kind of made fun of it. If you're a pro athlete, you have to have that visualization. It's part of what you do to prepare.
Well, certainly, you and I are big golf fans, and I know how big it is in that sport. I mean, when they're standing behind the ball, looking down the fairway, they're not trying to pick out a tree to aim at. They're watching in their mind the ball, the flight of the ball and where it's going to land, right down to the specific yard length. So, yeah, it's big in that sport, and I think it's probably big in a lot of other sports.
Yeah, I use the Gerald Ford method in that. I just hope I don't hit anybody on the side.
Hey,
how do those people stand so close?
Well, not anymore. They don't, but that used to worry me too when I would see that. I think all it takes is a camera shutter going off and a guy with a bad hitch in his swing, and somebody's going to get hurt badly.
Exactly. All right, when we come back, Mike Massetta will join us from Nature Stone. We'll find out what Mike is thinking. We'll find out what Bud is thinking. Mary Kay Cabot tomorrow night. More sports, and there you see the Browns place Greedy Williams on the IR. I like it better this way, Bud. 3 weeks minimum, and then you don't lose the guy for the whole year.
Yeah, well, he's already missed 5, so he's got.
They're
hoping back now for just a few games at the end of the season, I think, or maybe last half.
Well, they're going to need it. Let's take a break. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine is powered by cleveland.com.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your 4-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a football insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Oh, this date in sports history, a big one. I'm not sure too many people who were watching tonight saw this, but it did happen in 1920. Indians defeat the Brooklyn Dodgers. Actually, they weren't the Dodgers. They were the Robins. 5-2 in the best of 9 series. So they won 5 of them, and they captured their first World Series title. Had to wait till 1948 to get number 2. Birthdays for today, let's check them out. Rick Farrell was on, I believe he was on that team. Joe Cronin, former shortstop and commissioner of baseball. Al Fuzzy Smith, third baseman for the Tribe. Actually, Al Smith played third base, and when Gil McDougall hit Herb Score with a line drive, Al Smith got over and threw McDougall out and got the assist, believe it or not. Robin Banks, 1947, and then Chad Thomas, all born on this date in sports history, October 12th. Smiley One. Right now at Smiley One, they're making it easy to invest in a new heating or cooling comfort system without breaking your budget for a limited time. Take advantage of their special financing, 36 months on select Bryant high-efficiency equipment. They'll make it easy for your family and you to stay comfortable all year long. Call Smiley One for further details. Hey, Bud, I don't know what you're sitting on over there, but it's not floor. Do you have any idea what that would be?
Well, let me look.
Well, let me ask.
Wow. It's Nature Stone.
How is that, Mike?
Is that right on time?
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am
You're
looking
in.
for work, Mike.
It is Nature Stone, absolutely. Mike Masetta from Nature Stone is with us. Mike, what are you thinking? We got a 4-1 football team. Got LeBron James wins another title, and Tito Francona apparently is coming back. Although that seems a little early to me, but that's not my job. Mike, what are you thinking?
Well, those are 3 great subjects. Let's start with number one, or the second one you brought up about LeBron. And he might be the first player in the history of the NBA, first elite player, superstar, to win 2 championships in odd circumstances. He won the first one in a shortened season with Miami, and now he won this one in a very strange tournament style. So that's something that he can take to the bank with him. Is that
I think
he won 2? Yeah.
I think Adam Silver ought to let him play for a different team every year just to see if he could do it and win every year.
But you bring up Francona. Hey, the sooner he could get back, as long as he feels like he's healthy, and the doctors are good with him getting back, I think the better off the team will be. As much as I love Sandy Alomar and think he's going to be an outstanding manager, I think that there were times during the year that he was maybe in over his head a little bit, and I think Francona, needs to be there to sort of move this team in the right direction, especially if they trade Lindor next year, which it might not be the worst move in the world in terms of bringing back some major league talent that could improve the roster overall. Even though you're losing a superstar.
Let me throw something out that Mike Bacon, our great producer, brought up before the show, and that is right now there are 3 openings. There's Detroit and Boston, and what's the third? Detroit, Boston, and the White Sox. 2 of them in our division. Yeah. Apparently, Major League Baseball doesn't seem to care that 2 of the 3 were cheaters. And when they suspended him or whatever they did, they only suspended him for the rest of that year. So they're available. They're basically telling you, and they both will probably have jobs, right? Do you guys agree with that?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so two or three of them will get jobs, and what they're telling the public is, we don't care if you cheat.
Yeah, and Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame, so obviously that one they care about. But these guys, they don't. So they're back. I don't know how you explain that to your kids. I don't know if my children really know who AJ Hinch and the other coach. I know you're talking about from Boston. I don't know if they really follow it that much. They would know who they are.
Yeah, Joey Cora. You're talking about Cora.
Yeah, Cora. Yeah. They even bring that up, but at the end of the day, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And yet, you've got a deceased, shoeless Joe Jackson, who's not in the Hall of Fame for, what he did, and you've got Pete Rose, who's not in the Hall of Fame for what he did. And I'm not condoning any of the behavior. I'm just saying, it seems a bit hypocritical to accept one but not the other.
All right, let's turn ourselves to the attention of the Cleveland Browns, because that's something we don't get to talk about in these lofty posts too often. What are
anyway?
What's that?
Yeah,
you don't get to talk about them this late in the year usually.
Yeah, not in this fashion anyway.
They're out of the playoffs 5 games into the season usually.
That's mathematically that's hard, and thank goodness the draft will be here. So, Bud, what are we seeing here? What is this team showing us, and who are they? Who are these strange men?
In some part, I think we're seeing what we thought last year when we kept saying that there was more talent on this team than the head coach and the staff was getting out of it. So I think without shining up Kevin Stefanski for Coach of the Year quite yet, I think we are seeing what an organized, disciplined football team with talent looks like. And we thought that the talent was there last year, and some of us who picked them to do better had to try to explain that. Well, how could you pick this team to go 9-7 or whatever it might have been? Well, I think we're seeing why. They had a quarterback who could play. They have wide receivers who can catch and run and make big plays. And I think we knew what the running game was going to be, especially by the end of the year last year when Hunt came back. So I give Stefanski and his staff a lot of credit under really unusual circumstances, without a preseason, and everybody else knows that whole drill.
How many wins do you think they need to guarantee a playoff spot? Because you got some games against the Giants and the Jets and a couple of others that should be on paper winnable games. What do you think? They're at 4-1 right now. What do you think they need?
Well, I don't want to jump in on Mike ahead of Mike right here, but we lived in this town when they won 10 games and didn't make the playoffs. So I would think 10 would be the operative number.
Mike, how about you?
I would agree with Bud. It seems to be a very top-heavy league this year. There's a lot of teams that are, 4-0, 5-0, or in that 4-1 range, and then there's a lot of teams that are like 1-4. And there's not a lot of in between teams. So at some point that's gonna equal out, and teams are gonna start losing, at the top because they'll be playing each other. And so when that happens, if there's a lot of teams with 7, 8, 9 wins, you're gonna probably have to have 10, I would think, to guarantee a playoff spot. Our division is the roughest division of all.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got an undefeated Pittsburgh team and a 4-1 Ravens team that already beat the Browns once. So that's, they're right now, even though they're 4-1, they're playing for a wild card spot, and the second wild card spot at that, because the other wild card spot is to the Ravens. So it's an unusual situation to be in, to be this good this early and be sitting, kind of in the middle of the pack, so to speak. Because of where the other teams are, but that'll all equal out. But I think 10's a good number. And I'll say this too: one thing that I've been very impressed with this team is that they seem to improve. They're not just going out there and doing the because of talent. You know, they're actually improving as a team, and their defense seems to be getting better. I know it had a bad second half against Dallas, but you know, you take that second half out with all the injuries that they have on their defense and still have them. You know, these guys are playing pretty well, and they seem to be getting better and getting better at the right spots. If they don't give up that kickoff return for a touchdown, they only gave up 16 points to a really good Indianapolis team and an elite quarterback. So that's, I think they're playing well.
All right. So when the defense gives the ball, turns the ball over, and they go to the bench, a coach doesn't say, "Hey, that's not a bench. What is that?"
You get to that's Nature Stone.
Yeah. Go sit on the Nature Stone.
Nature Stone. Yeah. I love
I knew
it. Thank you.
that in there somehow, Les.
Yeah, it takes me a while, but I wind up somewhere. Hey, Mike, great to talk to you already, and let's keep this train rolling here.
Yeah, let's keep these guys winning. It's a lot of fun, and we need it right now. Cleveland needs it, and so does this nation. So let's have some fun with football.
All right, Mike, great to talk to you as always. Mike Macetta from Wow, It's Nature Stone. Bud, do you notice out on the street or wherever you go during the day that there's an excitement in the air? There's something going on?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, it's kind of early still, but you know, to get back from to Jack from Erie when he said that when they're not winning, they're losing the 1 o'clock game. He didn't even bother watching the 4 o'clock game. I think that's true, and I think in some ways, Les, when you did watch the 4 o'clock game back a few years back, you were reminded that this Browns offense looked nothing like the good offenses in the NFL.
Exactly.
And now they do. Now they do.
Northeast Factory Direct, 3 great locations. Check them out. They've been in business over 20 years, and they got the system right. They're now one of the great retailers in all of Northeastern Ohio. We are coming back in a moment with Bud Shaw, Mary Kay Cabot tomorrow night. More sports and Les Levine is powered by cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. Add more livable space, inhibit the growth of mold and mildew, and improve air quality for your family. It's the healthier, more beautiful basement floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your basement floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Browns placed Greedy Williams on ER. He'll miss at least 3 more games. Facebook question of the day: who do you consider to be the Browns' Week 5 MVP in their win over the Colts? Glenn Berger says Kareem Hunt. He plays every down with 100% effort. Josh Woodward says Myles Garrett. Dennis Davis says Myles Garrett, pressured all day long. Jim Bell says Myles Garrett. If you need a reason, you didn't watch the game. If you can't reach us when the show is on, which is 6 to 7 p.m., you can get us as the voice of truth, voicemail of Truth and Reason. 216-200-6650 is the number to call. Bud Shaw with us and Mary Kay Cabot tomorrow. Dennis Maniloff will be here on Wednesday 216-575-0403 is the number. But let's go to Devin, who's in Concord. Hello, Devin.
Hey, what's going on, gents?
How are you?
It's going. Hey, don't you guys long for the day of the Hugh Jackson Monday press conferences?
Do I long for the day?
Yeah.
Those were the longest days.
With those, we're going to get better.
Devin, can I say one thing? I
Yeah.
want to say one thing about this. I've seen this on Twitter now by Browns writers, and I won't name names.
Well, spell
But
them.
They go, oh, Kevin Stefanski's won 4 games out of his first 5, and Hugh Jackson only won. Can we agree at least that there was totally different circumstances back then when they were tearing the team down to the bare bones? I'm not saying he was a good head coach or that he's even close to being as good as Stefanski, but it's a little unfair to compare that roster when they were going through 1-31 to this roster now. Don't you guys agree with that at least?
Yeah.
I just don't need to see it again.
But, I mean, you can also say that the Miami Dolphins tore down their roster much more than we did.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, I mean, they had no one. I mean, we at least had an offensive line. He just refused to run it. Like Hugh thought he had quarterback play when you had Joe Thomas. I mean, you had Bitonio, you had Zeitler and Treader, and you had a nice offensive line. He just never utilized the run. I mean,
I didn't say he's a good coach. I'm just saying that when you have the quarterbacks and the wide receivers that they had in general, and match them against, and the running back, and match them against the guys that are in those positions now, Stefanski inherited a lot of talent on this team too. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I agree with you, but I just always hated how he would throw and take 30 seconds off the clock.
All right,
And then,
Devin, we got to move on. Thanks so much. As always, have a great week.
Hey, I didn't take up Devin's time, did I?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I mean, hey, I get to say I met your brothers again yesterday. Did they tell you?
You met him already.
I know. And hey, did they say that? We started tailgating at 8 o'clock. Man, it was crazy.
My brothers were there at 8 o'clock in the morning.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. No.
All right,
got kicked out. The cops came.
Hold on, I'll be there in a minute. Okay, I'm back. All right, we're coming back one more time. We'll discuss tailgating at 8 in the morning in a moment. More sports and less Levine. It's powered by cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Again, Grady Williams on the IR. Bud, what does this mean? Is it something they have to think about already next year on the draft, or do you think you just wait and see how he recovers?
Well, I'll say this. I mean, they thought that, I think in drafting Williams and Ward, that they had their corners spoken for the next 5 to 8 years. And there's a durability concern there, I think. And yeah, certainly I think they have to look at that at the end of this year.
Well, you got Ward also. You got some factors back there you have to consider.
Yeah, and Greedy Williams wasn't the sturdiest guy to begin with in this league, but what we were told was, hey, if these guys can cover, we shouldn't be talking about whether they're good tacklers or not. Okay, but generally, if you come into the league as a good tackler, it means that you're strong enough and sturdy enough to stand up to that throughout college football seasons, and we just haven't seen it with this guys. Maybe it gets better after this year, but it's such an important position. I could see why they would look at that again.
Let's take a minute to discuss the basketball situation. I don't know how much you saw. Does LeBron winning another championship put him back in the fight, the Michael Jordan fight?
Well, Mike mentioned, the two kind of unusual seasons, but listen, Les, he went to a new city in Miami and won in his second year there. He came back to Cleveland, won in his second year here. Went to LA, won in his second year there. I think winning with 3 different franchises is one way to cut the losses that he has in total titles when the conversation comes up between he and Michael. So yeah, I do think this eats up some ground, and I don't think he's done yet. So he could still win 4 or 5.
It's unbelievable, but you're probably right.
At 35 years old, that's crazy to say, right? But I mean, look at this. He almost averaged a triple-double in the finals.
Yeah, he doesn't look 35 years old to me.
No. So I don't think he's suddenly going to look, 36 next year. I mean, it's just I could see where he could win if he stays out there and they keep building that team and Anthony Davis stays. I don't think it's too far-fetched that they could win 1 or 2 more.
I never thought that he and Rajon Rondo would ever get along.
Yeah, I know. It's a testament to him in that last year at this time, a lot of us were saying he only went out there, to make movies and to live in sunny California, and clearly he's not looking to do the same thing there that he did in Cleveland, or he's not going to get to. And here he is a year later having done it. So I don't think past the guy. He makes everybody around him better, always has, and could do that for a few more years, I think.
So what you're telling me, I believe, is that he goes out there and every other year he wins a championship for a new city. Are you saying he doesn't improve?
No, he's done a lot of improving over his career, just in the way he shoots the ball and other things he does. He could decide. I've always said this about him. He could play as a power forward in this league until he's 40 years old and really effective.
How are you going to stop him inside?
He doesn't have to be out there doing everything he does. He can go to the low post, and who's going to stop him?
Nobody. All right, that'll do it for us. Great job by Bud Shaw. As always, we'll see him next Monday night. And we'll see you tomorrow night with Mary Kay Cabot. Of all the shows I've ever done, this is the most recent.